Okay, welcome in. I'm going to be reviewing Saturday and Sunday's action from the National Hockey League as we have hit the midway mark of March, which means that the season is winding down to an end. So starting in the Atlantic Division, as we had the Montreal Canadiens playing host to the Florida Panthers. Just 5 minutes and 15 seconds into the first period, Patrick Laine would get his 16th goal of the season on the power play from Lane Hudson and Cole Caulfield. Speaking of Caulfield, he would score with just over 4 minutes to go, getting his 33rd goal of the year, assisted by Slavkovsky, 15:56 of the first. Mackie Samskevich will get his 13th of the year from Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Bennett, 3:51 of the second period. The Montreal Canadiens were holding on to a 2-1 lead heading into the third. Christian Dvorak would increase the lead to 3-1 as he tipped in a goal from David Savard, 8 minutes and 11 seconds of the third, increasing the lead to 3-1, as I said, so that's where the score would stay. So Montreal would get a huge win, 3-1 over the Florida Panthers. Brett Howden would open up the scoring for the Vegas Golden Knights against the Buffalo Sabres, 12:07 in the first period, getting his 18th goal of the season, assisted by Pearson and Barbashev. Pavel Dorofeyev would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 27th goal of the year, assisted by Hurdle, 12:06 of the second period. Ryan McLeod would score, getting his 15th of the year from Bryson and Byram, cutting the lead to 2-1, 12:13 of the second period. Jason Zucker would tie the game up at 2, 9:53 of the third on the power play. Unassisted, 2-2. Jack Eichel, a former Sabre, would break the tie with just over 2.5 minutes to go, getting his 21st goal of the season from Stone and Pietrangelo. Rasmus Dahlin would score with just 14 seconds to go, getting his 12th goal of the year from Byram and Tage Thompson. This game would need to be settled in extra time. Unfortunately, no one scored in the overtime frame. Alex Tuch would get the shootout winner. That'd be his 26th goal of the season. So the Sabres would win 4-3, despite being down 2-0 and 3-2, respectively. We had a football game score between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New Jersey Devils. Cody Glass would score over halfway through the first, getting his 6th goal of the year from Bratt and Luke Hughes, 10:08 of the first. Connor Dewar would score his first goal since joining the Penguins, assisted by Achari and Timmins, 17:11 of the first. Danton Heinen would score, giving the Pittsburgh Penguins a 2-1 lead, getting his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Tomasino and Kolyuchuk, I believe is how you pronounce his name. That goal happened with 2 minutes and 24 seconds to go in the frame. Ricard Raquel would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 31st goal of the season from Sidney Crosby and Connor Timmins, 4:24 of the second frame. Philip Tomasino would increase the lead to 4-1, getting his 10th of the year, unassisted, 2:22 of the third. Timo Meier would cut the lead in half, getting his 19th goal of the year on the power play from Bratt and Nemec, 5:40 of the third. Nico Hischier would get a power play goal, his 28th goal of the season from Luke Hughes and Jesper Bratt, 6:40 of the third, cutting the lead to 4-3. Eric Carlson would get a power play goal, his 10th of the season from Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang. That goal happened 14:17 of the third, increasing the lead to 5-3. The Devils were down by 2, hoping to get a comeback. Unfortunately, it fell short as Connor Dewar would get his 2nd goal of the game, his 3rd of the season from Lizotte. And that goal happened with 55 seconds to go in the third. And then Kevin Hayes would score with 22 seconds to go, increasing the lead to 7-3, getting his 10th of the year from Bemstrom. So the Penguins would win 7-3. The San Jose Sharks played host to the Washington Capitals. Dylan Strome would open up the scoring, getting his 21st goal of the season from Alex Ovechkin and Tom Wilson, 7:33 of the first. Alexei Protas would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 29th goal of the year, assisted by Lars Eller and Tom Wilson, 17:26 of the second period. Taylor Radish would score with 1 minute and 5 seconds to go in the first, getting his 7th goal of the year from John Carlson and Pierre-Luc Dubois. In the third period, there's no scoring in the second. There's no scoring in the second. Macklin Celebrini would finally get the Sharks on the board, 6:19 of the third, getting his 21st goal of the season, assisted by Tyler Toffoli. Trevor Van Riemsdyk would get his first goal of the year, assisted by Eller and Majapani, 6:59 of the third period, increasing the lead to 4-1. And then Ovechkin would get his 34th goal of the season from Verhaeghe and Pierre-Luc Dubois, 10:54 of the third. He is definitely on pace to break that all-time goal-scoring record. All right, now we're off to Boston as the Bruins played host to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Victor Hedman would kick things off in the first period, getting his 12th goal of the year from Yanni Gourde and Radish, 2:22 of the first period. Elias Lindholm would get his 12th goal of the year from Peak and Lacko, 15:58 of the first, tying the game up at 1. Nick Paul would break the tie in the second, getting his 20th goal of the year from Lilleberg and Goncalves, I do believe, 2:13 of the second period. Anthony Cirelli would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 21st goal of the year from Ryan McDonough and Yanni Gourde, 7:22 of the second. Darren Radish would increase the lead to 4-1, getting his 5th goal of the season from Lilleberg and Nick Paul, 17:08 of the second period. 23 seconds into the third, Marat Kushnutdinov would cut the lead in half, getting his 4th of the year from Yukiharu and Elias Lindholm, 23 seconds into the third period. Brandon Hagel would increase the lead to 5-1, getting an empty net goal with 3.5 minutes to go. For Hagel, that'd be his 31st goal of the season from Kucherov and Ceranic. Boston pulled their goalie a second time. Anthony Cirelli would get the empty net goal from Victor Hedman, and that goal happened with 45 seconds to go in the game, so Tampa Bay would go into Boston and defeat them 6-2. Battle of Ontario as the Maple Leafs played host to their provincial rivals. William Nylander would open up the scoring, 6:49 of the second period, getting his 37th goal of the season from Nick Robertson and Brandon Carlo. Jake Sanderson would tie the game up at 7:57 of the second period, getting his 7th goal of the year from Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk. Austin Matthews would score 8:55 of the second, getting his 24th goal of the year unassisted, so the Leafs had a 2-1 lead. David Perron would tie the game up at 2, getting his 5th goal of the year from Drake Batherson, 12:16 of the second period. Claude Giroux would break the tie in the second, getting his 14th goal of the year, a power play goal from Tom Chabot, 14:08 of the middle frame. We have jumped all the way ahead to late in the third period. Toronto was down by a goal. They pulled their goalie. Unfortunately, they were not able to score. Michael Amadio did, getting his 9th goal of the season from Ridley Gregg, and that goal happened with 7 seconds to go in the game, so the Sens would win 4-2. The Carolina Hurricanes played against the Philadelphia Flyers in Philly. Sebastian Aho would kick things off for the Hurricanes, getting his 25th goal of the season from Blake and Seth Jarvis, 8:21 of the first period. Mark Jankowski would score, increasing the lead to 2-0, getting his 7th goal of the year from Eddie Robinson and Tyler Yost, 15:46 of the first. Taylor Hall would score in the second, just 19 seconds in, getting his 12th goal of the year on the power play from Aho and Shane Gothisberg. Mark Jankowski would get his 2nd goal of the game from Robinson and Shane Gothisberg, 13:15 of the second period. With 32 seconds to go in the game, Scott Morrow would get his 1st goal of the year from Stan Coven and Taylor Hall, so the Hurricanes would go into Philadelphia and shut them out 5-0. Columbus Blue Jackets played host to the New York Rangers. Alexis Lafreniere would open up the scoring for the Rangers, getting his 15th goal of the year from Zibanejad, 1:43 of the first period. Artemi Panarin would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 29th goal of the year from Lafreniere and Will Borgen, 11:36 of the second period. Vincent Trocheck would increase the lead to 3-0, getting his 19th goal of the year from Panarin and William Cooley, 14:38 of the third period. The Blue Jackets were down by 3 with 3.5 minutes to go, and they had a power play, but unfortunately they were not able to score, as Vincent Trocheck would get the shorthanded goal as well as an empty net goal from JT Miller and Adam Fox. And that goal happened with 3 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the third, so the Blue Jackets would lose, unfortunately, 4-0. All right, now we're off to the Central Division as we had the Minnesota Wild, who played host to the St. Louis Blues. The captain, Braden Shen, would kick things off for the Blues, getting his 15th goal of the season from Cam Fowler and Torpachenko, 4:17 of the opening frame. Jake Neighbors would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 17th goal of the season from Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich, 10:51 of the second. Jordan Kyrou would score 12:22 of the second, getting his 25th goal of the year from Braden Shen and Cam Fowler. Jake Middleton would finally score for the Wild. There we go. Getting his 8th goal of the season unassisted, 12:47 of the second period. Jordan Kyrou would increase the lead to 4-1, getting his 26th of the season from Dylan Holloway and Justin Falk, and that goal happened with 8.5 minutes to go in the third. With just over 2 minutes to go, Kyrou would score again. As you can hear, he had the natural hat trick, increasing the lead to 5-1. So that's where we would sit at the end of regulation. I didn't mean to click on that, and I was praying that if I did click on it, that there wouldn't be an ad. Trust me, if there was absolutely no ads or the ad was on the bottom, I would play every single goal. Just one goal to report from from Los Angeles as the Kings played host to the Nashville Predators. There was no scoring in the first 60 minutes. We would need overtime to settle this one. Quinton Byfield would get the game-winning goal, his 17th of the year from Adrian Kempe and Brett Clark. And the last game from Saturday took place in Vancouver as the Canucks played host to the Blackhawks. It's a battle of the Ox. Quinn Hughes, the captain, would kick things off for Vancouver, getting his 15th of the year from Philip Hronek and Elias Pettersson, 17:46 of the first period. Not too long after that, Tyler Myers would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 5th goal of the year from Kiefer Sherwood and Teddy Bluger. And that goal happened with 1 minute and 39 seconds to go in the first. Connor Garland would increase the lead to 3-0, getting his 17th goal of the year from Pius Suter and Nils Höglander, 8:08 of the second. Alex Vlasic would finally get the Blackhawks on the board late in the second period, getting his 4th goal of the year from Donato and Tara Vinen. That goal happened with 1 minute and 9 seconds to go in the second. Elias Pettersson will get his 15th goal of the season from Höglander, 4:01 of the third period, increasing the lead to 4-1. Wyatt Kaiser would cut the lead to 4-2, getting his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Lev Shinov and Ryan Donato, 5:22 of the third. Nils Ahman will get his 1st goal of the season from Kiefer Sherwood and Teddy Bluger, 9:50 of the third period, increasing the lead to 5-2. Pius Suter would score, getting his 18th goal of the year from Garland and Joshua, 9:58 of the third, and that's where we'd stand at the end of regulation. The Canucks would win 6-2. All right, now Sunday, we had a grand total of 7 games on tap. Let's see if I can get these 7 games done, and we'll take a look at the standings as well. So the Detroit Red Wings played host to the Vegas Golden Knights. Albert Johansson would kick things off for Detroit, getting his 2nd goal of the season from Tarasenko and J.D. Compher, 17:58 of the second period. Lucas raised the lead to 2-0, getting his 23rd goal of the year, assisted by Soderblom, 4:51 of the third. Marco Kasper would increase the lead to 3-0, 11:14 of the third, getting his 13th goal of the year from Gustafsson and Patrick Kane. So the Red Wings would shut out the Golden Knights, who were favored 3-0. All right, the Colorado Avalanche played host to the Dallas Stars. And before I begin this review, if this was a first-round matchup in the playoffs, this would be an absolute showdown. I could see it going 7 games. There's just too much talent on both sides of the squad. There's no way it'd be a 4-game sweep or a 5-game. 6 or 7 would be my guess if those two met in the playoffs. So Jason Robertson will kick things off in the first, getting his 29th goal of the year from Roope Hintz and Mikko Rantanen, a former Av, 4 minutes and 10 seconds of the first. Martin Necas would tie the game up at 1, getting his 23rd goal of the season on the power play from Cale Makar and Jonathan Drouin, 14:09 of the first. Valeri Nichushkin would give Colorado their first lead of the night, getting his 17th goal of the season from Taves and Makar, 6:24 of the second period. Jonathan Drouin would score late in the third, 2 minutes and 31 seconds to go. 41 seconds to go. Drouin would get his 10th goal of the season from Malinsky and Nichushkin. Marvin Bourque would score 14:12 of the third, cutting the lead to 3-2, getting his 10th goal of the season from Jamie Benn and Wyatt Johnston. Matt Duchene would tie the game up 14:32 of the third, getting his 26th goal of the season from Lindell and Marchment. Sorry. Wow. From Marchment. I didn't expect that. My bad. The game would go to overtime, and Cale Makar would get the game-winning goal just 34 seconds into the overtime frame, getting his 25th goal of the season from McKinnon and Brock Nelson. See if I can play this. Here comes McKinnon. Knocking it back to Makar. Yamatar, left to the middle. Shoot! Scores! It's a pretty neat goal from Cale Makar. The New York Rangers played host to the Edmonton Oilers. Corey Perry would kick things off in the first with just 43 seconds to go, getting his 15th goal of the season on the power play from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Leon Draisaitl. Will Cooley would score exactly 5 minutes into the second, getting his 18th goal of the season from Panarin and Vincent Trocheck. Victor Arvidsson would give Edmonton their second lead of the night, getting his 9th goal of the season from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 6:09 of the third period. And then Connor McDavid would score with 3.5 minutes to go, getting his 25th goal of the season, assisted by Nugent-Hopkins and Brett Kulak. The New York Islanders played host to the Florida Panthers. Sam Reinhart would score 1 minute into the second period, getting his 33rd goal of the year from Andrei Barkov and Forsling. Sasha Barkov would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 18th goal of the season on the power play from Sam Reinhart and Ito Luostarinen. Mark Gatcomb would cut the lead to 2-1, getting his 4th goal of the season from D'Angelo and Pierre Engvall, 6:29 of the third. Maxim Siplikov would tie the game up at 2, 12:16 of the third, getting his 8th goal of the season from Morgan Riley and D'Angelo. Noah Dobson would get the eventual game-winning goal, his 7th of the season from Anders Lee, 12:33 of the third. And the Panthers were down by a goalie. So they were down by a goal. They pulled their goalie. Unfortunately, they were not able to tie it up as Simon Holmstrom would give them a 4-2 lead, his 15th of the season, assisted by Pajot. And that goal happened with 7 seconds remaining in the game. The St. Louis Blues played host to the Anaheim Ducks. All right. So Braden Shen would kick things off for the Blues at 41 seconds into the first, getting his 16th goal of the year from Dylan Holloway and Jordan Kyrou. Pavel Buchnevich would get his 14th goal of the year from Neighbors and Fowler, 1:30 of the first period. So they had 2 goals in the first 90 seconds. Dylan Holloway would increase the lead to 3-0, getting his 22nd goal of the season on the power play from Justin Falk and Jordan Kyrou. Cutter Gauthier would finally get Anaheim on the board, 10:06 of the second, getting his 13th goal of the year from Radko Gudas and Mason McTavish. Radek Faksa would increase the lead to 4-1, getting his 4th goal of the season from Torpachenko and Nate Walker, 15:39 of the second period. Matthew Joseph would increase the lead to 5-1, getting his 4th goal of the season, shorthanded, unassisted, and that goal happened with 1 minute and 50 seconds to go in the second. 2 minutes and 23 seconds into the third, Nikita Nestorenko would get his 2nd goal of the season from Gauthier and Mason McTavish, cutting the lead to 5-2. Jake Neighbors would get a power play goal in the third, his 18th of the season from Kyrou and Justin Falk, so increasing the lead to 6-2. Oscar Sundqvist would get a power play goal, 12:19 of the third, getting his 6th goal of the year from Bolduc and Robert Thomas. So 7-2 would be the final score in favor of the Blues. The Canucks played host to the Utah Hockey Club. The captain, Quinn Hughes, would kick things off for Vancouver in the second period, getting his 16th goal of the season on the power play from Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk. Kevin Stanley would tie the game up at 1:12:04 of the second, getting his 10th goal of the year from Bustad and Carcone. Logan Cooley would get the go-ahead goal in the third, 5:08 to be exact, his 18th of the season, assisted by Durzi and Nick Schmaltz. Vancouver would pull their goalie. Unfortunately, it did not work out as the captain, Clayton Keller, would get the empty net goal, his 24th of the season, assisted by Nick Schmaltz. So 3-1 would be the final score in favor of the Utah no-names. And the last game from Sunday took place in Seattle as we had the Kraken playing host to the Winnipeg Jets. Yanni Neiman would kick things off just 9 minutes and 58 seconds of the first, a power play goal. His 2nd goal of the season from Eberle and Chandler Stevenson. Michael Eyssimont would increase lead to 2-0, 15:23 of the first, getting his 7th goal of the year from Ryan Evans and Brandon Montour. Cole Perfetti would score with 17 seconds to go in the first, getting his 14th goal of the season, assisted by Sandberg and Namastikov. Kyle Connor would tie the game up in the second, getting his 36th goal of the season from Barron, 11:42 of the second frame. No scoring the rest of that period, no scoring the rest of the third. We would need overtime to settle this one, and Dylan Sandberg would get the eventual game-winning goal, 1 minute and 47 seconds in the overtime frame, assisted by Perfetti and Namastikov.
This way for Dylan Sandberg. To the high slot, Perfetti kicks it to his stick. He's right in. Across. They score. Dylan Sandberg.
So the Jets would overcome a 2-0 deficit, and they'd come back to win 3-2. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the standings. So the Florida Panthers are still in first place with a record of 41-24-3. They have 85 points. They have 14 games remaining on their schedule. The Tampa Bay Lightning, after their win, they've now jumped into second place in the Atlantic Division with a record of 38-23-5. They have 81 points. The Leafs also have 81 points, but their record is 39-24-3. In the Metropolitan Division, the Capitals are still in first place with a record of 44-15-8. That's 96 points. The Panthers are in second place, 10 points behind the Capitals with a record of 41-24-4. And the Devils are 36-26-6. They have 78 points. Two teams in the wild card look like this. The Ottawa Senators have a record of 36-25-5. They have 77 points. They find themselves just 4 points back at Tampa and Toronto, respectively. So we'll see how they do by the end of the year. The New York Rangers have a record of 33-29-6. They have 72 points. Looking at the rest of the Eastern Conference. So it's going to be a tight race, to say the least, to finish off the season. A lot of teams have between 16 and 14 games remaining. So the Montreal Canadiens, the team I cheer for, they're just now 1 point out of a playoff spot with a record of 32-27-7. They have 71 points. The Blue Jackets have 70 points. Their record is 31-27-8. The Detroit Red Wings are sitting at 70 points for themselves. They have a record of 32-29-6 for 70 points. The New York Islanders are 4 points back of a playoff spot with a record of 30-28-8. They have 68 points. The Bruins also have 68 points with a record of 30, 30, and 8. The Pittsburgh Penguins have a record of 28, 31, and 10. They have 66 points as we speak. Their state rivals and the Philadelphia Flyers have a record of 28, 32, and 8, 64 points. And the Buffalo Sabres are still at the bottom of the league, or of the Eastern Conference at least. They have a record of 26, 33, and 6. All right, now we're off to the Western Conference, where, there we go. The Winnipeg Jets are still in first place in that division. They have an 11-point lead over the Dallas Stars with a record of 47, 17, and 4. The Stars have a record of 42, 21, and 3. They have 87 points. And the Colorado Avalanche have a record of 41, 24, and 3. They have 85 points. So it's hard to believe that like a month or two ago, it seemed like it was impossible for the Avalanche to climb that huge mountain. And here they are now just 2 points back. If they happen to defeat Dallas, they could jump ahead in the standings. It's pretty crazy how the hockey gods really are. Alrighty, so now we're off to the Pacific Division as we have the Vegas Golden Knights. They have a record of 39, 20, and 8. They have 86 points. The Oilers have a record of 39, 24, and 4. They have 82 points. The Kings find themselves just 1 point back of Edmonton. So if LA happens to win and Edmonton loses, both those teams could easily flip positions. The two teams in the wild card look like so. Minnesota Wild have a record of 37, 25, and 5. They have 79 points. The Vancouver Canucks have a very slim lead in that division. They have a record of 31, 25, and 11, which is 73 points. I'll show you all the standings. So the St. Louis Blues have a record of 33, 28, and 7. They have 73 points. The Calgary Flames have a record of 30, 24, and 11. They have 71 points. The Utah Hockey Club have a record of 30, 26, and 11. They have 71 points. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams only separated by 2 points, respectively. The Anaheim Ducks have a record of 29, 31, and 7. They have 65 points. The Seattle Kraken have a record of 29, 34, and 5. They have 63 points themselves. The Nashville Predators have a record of 25, 33, and 8. They have 58 points. The Chicago Blackhawks have a record of 20, 38, and 9. They have 49 points. And you can see the E is beside the San Jose Sharks, which means they have technically been eliminated as we speak with a record of 18, 41, and 9. That's good enough for 45 points. All right, that's going to take care of this video. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative as well. Until next time, and as always, take care.